Last night, saw the man again on TV, and he said, between two thoughts, the space that exists between two thoughts is infinite possibilities. Between two thoughts exists the infinite of possibilities. You know, that's like reading Benedict Spinoza, that if a thing looks like something to you, perceived by others as something else, well, the thing has taken on many dimensions. Okay, how am I going to use that? How am I going to use Deepak Chopra when he said that between two thoughts exists infinite possibilities? Okay, now that you have said that, I want to know, how am I supposed to process this and put this into a meaningful formula that I could improve the quality of my life? Because if what you say doesn't support life, then why should I listen to it? I live life. I don't live philosophy. And as far as life is concerned, the one thing you must do, which we all should do, is know what to put in your mouth. All the other philosophical structures, they mean absolutely nothing. Because now what you're eating is making you sick. And in the state of disease, what is the state of your mind? What is the state of your soul? What is the state of your spirit? You see, we never seem to couple that, isn't it? But we're going to do that now. We're going to try to do this. We're going to come here and we're going to show you something that our fathers and mothers didn't have to know, but you better know it now. And then the professors, they use it against you. And it happened to me in Washington by a lady by the name of Dr. Steinberg and Dr. Gluck. This lady was used to imposing herself on black people. Because we're limited, you know, slave son. What could you know? Well, this particular day, something occurred in D.C. which a child had sickle cell anemia. The child was sickle cell anemic for 2 years, and she was only 2 years old. She was born with sickle cell. She was traveling. The father snatched the baby out of the hospital and hit the little girl in Silver Spring. I began to treat her. 2.5 months later, close to 3 months, the law caught up with us. The police came and picked me up at 2010 Kendall Street Northeast, D.C., the community warehouse. And they got the father and the mother. Now we find ourselves in a hospital. Dr. Steinberg, upon noticing that in the 3 months that I was treating the child, I made a log of everything she ate. She noticed this one particular thing. I didn't give her killer protein. Boy, did she jump on it. I noticed here that you didn't give her killer protein. Protein? She said, yes. I said, Dr. Steinberg, are you sure that you want to rest your argument on protein being the base of the premise? She said, yes, unless the great Dr. Sebi believed that protein is an unnecessary food. I said, I don't know anything about protein. I said, you forgot something. I'm the child of that continent that you call Africa. And we didn't know anything about protein then. Do you? What is protein? Protein is one of the 19 amino acids, the building block of life. said, Dr. Steinberg, that is the response that I get from everyone. That protein is one of the 19 amino acids. But the body needs acid. What could the body do with acids? The body is composed of 102 minerals, not one acid. The body is alkaline. The body is carbon-based. I said, furthermore, being that the body is carbon-based, it is electrical. It moves. And there could be no movement unless that movement is electrical. Now that we understand that the body is electrical, the food that would feed an electric body would necessarily be electrical. How many electrons per atom does protein contain? I don't know. But you use protein as your premise. You should know all about it. Do you know that Dr. Steinberg didn't know about protein? And do you know that nobody in the audience knows about protein, neither do I? And why should we know about that? Because they told us that protein is a necessary food. And we believe that. And we begin to consume those things that represent protein. So I said to her, I am forced to ask you another question. What is sickle cell anemia? She said that sickle cell anemia was a disease that was acquired by black people 10,000 years ago in the jungles of Africa. And that our blood went through mutation. I say mutation 10,000 years ago. But 10,000 years ago, we didn't know you guys. You were never in our environment 10,000 years ago. But you said that our blood went through mutation, that's the cause of sickle cell anemia. Dr. Steinberg from the Georgetown Pediatric Hospital in Washington told me that. Not the newspaper wasn't around to hear what this woman who's supposed to be a professional woman is regurgitating. So I said, what is sickle cell? Mutation. I said, but I have a brother that goes around the world and he preaches things and he says things in reference to food and nutrition. His name is Dick Gregory. He said at Camden Hall that God gave us sickle cell to fight malaria. Well, since I know for a fact that God didn't tell Dick Gregory that, he must have gotten that statement from your brother. And the statement that you're giving me is also from your brother. And there are two conflicting statements. One says God, you says mutation. I'm confused. I say it's neither God nor mutation. It's the deprivation of iron. Iron fluoride, vegetable iron. Ever since we were removed from the diet that was designed for us, in the jungles, as they call it, our body has been deteriorating 500 years ago. Here we are. We're eating food, we call it. Sure, we eat food, but are we being nourished? You see, there is a difference with food and nutrition. Food electrifies the body. Nutrition drags you down. I mean, food drags you down. Nutrition builds you up. Here it is. This is what our parents didn't know and didn't have to know. That is number 7. You see, we live in a mechanical world now. And they have made mechanical everything. Everything we eat in a supermarket is mechanically made. Our stuff is naturally made. So we expect to get from it food. We want to be nourished. But you eat, and you eat some more, and your body's telling you better eat some more because I'm hungry. What we didn't know is that we weren't feeding the body, we were feeding our stomach. The 7 represent pH. pH means what? It is the concentration of hydrogen. Ion. That's pH. pH only means the concentration of hydrogen ions in a substance. If that concentration is below 7, and it is 6.9 right here, on this side of 7, below 7, if it's 6.9, that substance is already acid. So as you go down the scale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The closer you get to 1, if you take a substance that the hydrogen concentration is only 1, you're going to die in about 2 minutes. If you take one that is 2, you may live a couple of days or so. If you take one that is 3, you may live a week. If you take it straight, anything with a pH of 3. And do you know where garlic fits? Garlic fits right here. 3.3. Garlic is 3.3 on the hydrogen ion concentration scale. But we eat garlic. Why? Because we believe that it is good. We believe that it is good because somebody told us that it is good. But we didn't have anyone to do the research, the in-depth research. You see, our research is concentrated historical, historical. It's paleontology, archaeology. We spend time with that. But we didn't spend time with the most important part because we didn't know the part it played. But if you take garlic and eat it, it wouldn't kill you right now because the hydrochloric acid is going to break down much of it. It has an acid known as the oxide of allyl, A-L-L-Y-L. This is a very dangerous oxide. If you take garlic and you put it on a bullet and you shoot someone in the leg, you're going to die anyway. The old folks know that if you take a knife and you put garlic on it and you cut someone, they're going to be poisoned and they're going to die. Why garlic is acid? Because it's laboratory made. Anything that is laboratory made has a pH of less than 7. Garlic. Cow milk is 6, not too bad. Still acid. Tofu is 4. When you eat tofu, let's put cow milk here. All these things we're going to put under acid. When you eat tofu, what tofu will do to you is this. Tofu will enter the body and begin to rob your moisture out of your body. Rob your moisture. Besides robbing your moisture, it's going to rob you of your oxygen. Why? Because tofu is starch. Tofu was made during the year of 1825, is it? By Gregor Mendel. Download this name, put him on the acid side. Mendel. Gregor Mendel, you download him, and he made every beans that we eat. So now, as we look at this tofu business, we find that it is so acid that Mr. Eddie Murphy, first fiancée, her name is Fashawn, she came to me and she said that she was anemic, and she showed me her hands. They were yellow. I gave her Maya, I doubled, I tripled, my hands are still yellow. I said, girl, could I study your case for a while? It took a week. I said, could you come to Florida? She did. The tofu had delivered sulfides in her body, and that sulfide would eat your iron. So I had to remove the sulfide. And the only way that I could remove the sulfide from her body, I had to give her something known as what? Sodium fluoride. That's come from a plant called the blue vervain. 2 days later, her hand was pink because of tofu. Do not, under any circumstances, give this to your children. Milk or the pulp. It is extremely dangerous. So now, why is it that we are subjected to this side of this pH scale? Because we have no connection with mama like the elephant did, right? So now the man that put us over here, he knows that if we eat this, we would always be under his control because we can't see. It's like putting diesel in a gasoline car. It's not going to run too far. So, why did this happen? Why didn't he continue, why did the man that brought us over here didn't eat this? Which is these are natural grains. Amaranth, teff, wholemeal, quinoa. Why did we have to go over here? What reason? Is it that the people that eat these things are acid just like the things they eat? Well, listen to this carefully. There is a book written by Mr. Pablo Arriola, isn't it? How to Get Well. In page 190, he states that if your ancestors are European, your body is programmed to digest milk properly. But if your ancestors are African, your body is not so programmed to digest milk. So he's telling us there is a difference, and we have to be careful, because that difference plays havoc on your life. It does things to the family. It divides you. You think it divides you from your wife? No, 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 no. It divides you from this. It divides you from this. You're thirsty. I mean, you are thirsty. You want to drink water. And you have to drink this water. But from your hands to this bottle, you're suffering with rheumatoid arthritis. Pick it up. You can't. Telling us that we are divided within ourselves. Why? I have rheumatoid arthritis. I can't pick it up because my fingers are hurting me. Now, what are the chances between you and your loved one? If the chances of you dividing is so easy in yourself, but the chances with you and another is greater. You see? Why? Because we've been eating this. Starch. Brothers and sisters, starch come after you in different forms. You bring it in spaghetti. You bring it in rice. Cane juice has the highest concentration of starch. What starch does to the body? It clogs the body. It obstructs. It eats away on your knees, on your hips, where by the time you get to my age, your knees are like, hey, you gotta watch it, because it hurts. It hurts you. It's painful. And you don't know what to do because the doctors are not telling us the truth. Because my knee used to crack when I was 30. But that all left. So now we want to know what could have happened. Well, as far back as we know in all the historical books and the religious books, they claim that the herbs are for the healing of the nations. That's what they say. But if this is so, that the herbs are for the healing of the nation, why is it that my brother, who was a Christian preacher for 30 years, when he got sick, he went to the doctor to get an injection? What was happening in his brain that compelled him to turn his back on God Almighty that he worshiped, to go to a doctor? What could have happened to my brother? When my mother called me and said, hey, you have to go see your brother, I said, Mom, this man is a preacher. This is the position you wanted me to occupy. You asked me to be the preacher. I tell you, no, I want to be something better than that. She said, what? I said, I do. My brother, he jumped the gun. He said, I'm going to be the preacher. But he was cruel. He was very cruel. He used to beat his children really bad. One of his child ran away young. And he became the preacher, preaching to people of the gospel. But yet, when he got sick, he went to the doctor and he died 21 years ago. I, who he said was the sinner, that was okay with me. Bunch of folks called me sinner, and I'll take that like that. But why am I the one that is carrying out the mandate that he should have carried out? Well, because I didn't go to school. I became an engineer, and they wanted to know, how do you become an engineer not going to school? I said that was easy. On the job training. So now that we know that the pH scale showed that anything above 7 is alkali, right? So you put acid over here, alkali over here. Alkalinity represents electricity. The body is electrical. You cannot heal anyone unless you raise the resonance in the body to vibrate, to fight the disease. You want energy, you want strength. Chemical doesn't bring energy or strength. That can only be obtained from a plant that is natural. But since in our world they give us peppermint over here. Peppermint. They give us comfrey. They give us aloe vera. These are plants, right? They are plants. Well, what's the difference with these plants and this one? What is the difference with these plants and this? These are alkaline. But in the state of alkalinity, something else occurs with a natural plant. A natural plant sends its root into the ground. This is the root of the plant. This is the soil. A natural plant sends its root sometimes 5, 6, 7 inches or feet, sometimes 200 feet in the ground. And as they send the root into the soil, the natural plant, being that it is electrical, it converts the mineral from the soil, from a solid state to a liquid, digestible substance. Scientists call that, according to Edward Schultz, iontrophoresis. Iontrophoresis? Boy, what a word. There's your guide. Iontrophoresis. Iontrophoresis is the conversion action from a natural plant to it, from the soil to it. But an artificial plant like carrots, I'll put carrots over here. Carrot or any one of these plants, they do not send their root into the ground 4 and 5 feet, 2 inches only. Why? Because they cannot convert the minerals from the soil into their body and electrify you, because they are made in a laboratory. You know, it's like a paper bag that is made of paper, and you throw it on the ground, it rains, the sun, it rains, the sun, it recycles again. But if you throw plastic, it stays there for 1,000,000 years because it's made of starch. Nature doesn't receive what it didn't make. Nature only received into her bowels that which she made. So now we should begin to ask the question. If we were not eating from this side, what state are we in? You see, this is why. The little time that Lisa Lopez spent on the journey of healing, she went on the fast, and she said that when she came from out of the fast, she said that the only giving should be compassion, because she could see the deficit that we're living. We cannot get angry at no one or anyone, because we all are recipient of the adulterated sperm. We were born sick. We do sick things to each other. Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what he did? I can't believe that. No, you can't. because you're thinking that the level of morality that we live eating over here continues eating this. Now, how could it continue when we're eating hog and lamb? Some of us claim not to eat hog, but then we say, a lamb, not realizing that lamb is more treacherous than pork. I asked my mother one day, I said, Mom, why is it that they have Jesus with a lamb in his arm? You see, does the lamb represent some righteous virtue, humbleness and meekness? This beast was made in the laboratory. God or nature didn't make any lamb. But we believe that. And we had to believe that. Why? Okay, think about this. All the way from the continent they call Africa, all the way over here, 4,000 miles to America, do you think the something wasn't lost? I mean, look, I know for a fact that there were much that was lost when I was in Los Angeles at 31, 32, 35, 37. I was hobnobbing with the revolutionaries. I was a good Christian. I was a good Muslim. I like to be a good everything. And I love Islam like I love Christianity. I love everything. I love everyone because it's easy for me that way. If I love you, I feel good. But if I hate you, man, I'm going to feel bad. Every time I see you, I'm going to feel bad anyway. So I am not going to allow you to take my body into a state of such. This is important. As a merchant seaman, I had an encounter with a white man. His name is Bert Bowles. I said, Bert, the engineer said you should not overflow the evaporator anymore. He said, nigger, you don't talk to me like that. I said, what you say, Bert? Nigger? Say it again, Bert. Nigger. I said, Bert, it sounds good. Say it again. But Bert didn't say it. So I repeated. I said, Bert, you're not going to say it again? Well, I'm going to say it, Bert. Nigger. Didn't sound good, Bert. You say it. And he looked at me and he realized that the word had no place in me. About a few weeks later, we aboard the ship. He was stealing everybody's property. So everybody went to the captain and told the captain he was a thief. I said, Captain, Freddie Bert is not a thief. What? I heard he said he called you a nigger. I said, why don't you call him a nigger? I said, words has no place in my life, Captain Freddie. Bert is not a thief. Come on. I took him down. I said, Bert, do you have a wallet? Yes, Bowman. I have your wallet with your picture of your grandmother, your wife, and $200. And oh, and I have your camera. I said, Captain Freddie, that's a thief. That was 1963. I left that ship, went to California. I became a healer. 1989. A group of lawyers in New Orleans called my office in New York and said that they wanted to pay me $3,500 to come to New Orleans and pay my plane fare and also my hotel, and explain to them how was it that I won this big case in the Supreme Court. Oh, we won a case, and we're going to go into it to let you see what we won. Well, I don't have to tell you in the Watkins that because you guys have no faith. That was what I got from Melvina and Denise. Melvina and Denise are two women that were down there, sisters that were down there. And I listened to them. I knew about Brother Malachi York. I knew about it because I know him. As you know, he's a beautiful brother, a very intelligent and smart man. But I don't join. I don't like to join things because they're too, something about them restrictive and it's, I don't know, I wasn't comfortable. But when I heard Sister Denise and Melvina, I said, you know, I want to be a member because I'm by myself. Like I'm useless. I'm not a member of any family. Okay? I went back to New Orleans where I shipped out and I told my wife then, I want to go to the Union Hall because I used to be a seaman. When I went there, I saw much of the seamen, many of them, and who did I see? When I'm walking back to the automobile, a dirty, dirty, dirty white man is coming towards me, so I stepped out of his way and I kept on walking. Then I heard, Bowman! And I turned back. He said, this is Bird. This is Bird. You're my only friend. And he's crying out, you're my only friend. The man that called me a nigger is saying I was his only friend. But there was something that's gonna come out this white man's mouth. And I don't know how he would have figured this one out or fathomed this or whatever. He said, I knew I'd see you one day and that you're gonna come and heal me. I wasn't a healer when I was a merchant seaman, but I got Bert to be cured and his family. Now here is the son of the slave that is treating the son of the slave master. All right? What does that say to the son of the slave master? And the son of the slave especially. What is that message that I went into my pocket? His brother just gave me $3,500 last night for telling them how I won the case. Now I have to give Bert like 500 of those to buy some shoes. Now what is it about that act? That's us. That's always been us, the so-called black race. We have never offended anyone. And this white man called me a nigger, but he had to eat those words, turned back and said, I was his only friend. That's us. We as a healer, Dr. Sadie's Dr. Healer, all of us are, especially those women, they are the nurturers. We are the nurturers. Now, we're going to go into a little bit of history here that we can understand more about this journey of healing. We already know, as we roll it back into the jungles of Africa, we didn't have to know anything about hair because all we had was over here. So we just lived without no clothes, punching no clock, no school. We didn't have no school. And we didn't have this. Paper. You see, to make paper, you have to cut some trees down. And after you cut the tree down, you have to make a machine to pump the tree. Then you have to make another machine to suck the oil out of the ground, to feed that machine, to pump the paper, to make the paper. But look at the mess we're making. But we can't fathom that state of life, living. We can't even understand how was that possible. But it was possible because we lived that. Well, as far back in history as we go, the herbs are for the healing of the nation. They didn't have to tell us that because that's how we live. But Hippocrates came degree, and he found out that these African people weren't getting sick. So why are they not in a hospital? They have no hospital. There's no grocery store. There is nothing. But he watched what they were eating. He goes back to Greece and began to use that particular principle, modality, or whatever way. And he was curing disease in Greece. He established the School of Medicine, known today. But Hippocrates, when I was arrested, we're going to go into the case now. While I was in jail, I was laughing because I wanted to know what defense would they have against me. You see, I traveled with the best of the philosophers and the religious people. I was never too inclined with that, but I was inclined to pursue because of the energies of life navigating me to this point. But I like it. But I didn't want to be it because I'm vulgar, I'm loose, I have no discipline, I'm lazy. So all these things is me. But that's okay, I love it. This is why I didn't want the position. And I made a statement in New Orleans in 1962 that I wanted to give the black woman a gift. Why I selected the black woman? Because in New Orleans in the 60s, late 50s, early 60s, you talk about a black woman, it was like you talk about some horrible being. They even call you Sapphire. I said, but why do we talk about her that way? And she's our mother. I came out of one. I said, I'm going to give her a gift. I was in a barber chair in a tin barber shop. I didn't know the gift was going to be healing. But the gift is healing. And what the woman has done in healing, I've never done. So I know that you all have the capacity because you all are the nurturers. Healing requires nurturing, right? Okay. So now Hippocrates used herbs. And if we go to science, science shows us that the only substance that could assimilate is a carbon-based substance. That's a natural plant. So that's why I was laughing in jail. I want to know what defense they were going to have against me. But I had one ace in the hole that has never been used. Now we could use it because we got it. We won our case. While the judge, I'm going to play a game with the physicians because I know that we're helpless. I know they never had someone like myself in front of their face, but I'm going to rub it on the nose. The judge said, Dr. Sebi, the physician, no, would you please begin? I said, where do I begin, Your Honor? Begin where you say that you have a cure for AIDS and the physician claimed that there is no cure. I said, the physicians are 100% right. There is no cure for AIDS or any other disease. They are right. The judge said, but I have a newspaper here that says, you said there's cure. I said, oh, that. That is a horse of a different color. She said, how does that help me? This sounds like a contradiction. I said, maybe to you, Your Honor, but I'll clear that up. I agreed with you with the physician making the claim that there is no cure for AIDS or any other disease. Because the perspective that prepared the physician, his education, his discipline, his modality, doesn't cure anything. So when he said that he doesn't cure it and there is no cure, he's right from his perspective. But from my perspective, there is cure for AIDS and every other disease. What I just did is to bridle the court. Remember what I did. Look what I did. Physicians are right by their modality. But by ours, there is cure. So what is the question that the judge is going to ask? There's only one question. What is the difference? Oh my God. When the judge asked me, what is the difference in the perspectives. Dr. Victor Herbert, who is head of the Veteran Administration, jumped up and said, I beg your pardon, another perspective? Your Honor, we all know that the allopathic is the only one that complements. Dr. Sadie, what do you say? I say, not so. What is your perspective? The African biomineral balance. The doctor said, I've never heard of such a thing. I say, he's right again. You have never heard of the African biomineral balance. But we have to remind the good doctor that he have not heard of a whole lot of things, and the African biobalance only happened to be one of them. What is the African biobalance opposed to the allopathic? The allopathic uses chemicals. The African biomineral balance, not so. We use a vegetable. Why? The body is carbon-based. So we differ in substance used, but we also differ how we perceive disease. The allopathic claim that you have multiple disease. When you have pneumonia, you have AIDS, you have diabetes, you have 3 different diseases. Not so. There's only one disease. The doctor jumped back up and said, I told you this man is unscientific and ignorant. He said that. I said, Your Honor, he's right. I'm unscientific. But if we have to use science as the measure or barometer to reverse disease, science already had 500 years. They have not cured one. So what do we find in the African biomineral balance? It has reduced disease to one common denominator, mucus. And we proceed to remove the mucus from the system by using an electric cell phone, natural plant from the forest. Upon doing so, we nourish the part that was aggravated most. Like if you come to me with cancer of the bones, well, I don't have to put too much emphasis on the blood or the brain. It's on the calcium of the bone, right? But if you come to me with sickle cell, I'm going to clean the body, putting emphasis on the blood. But if you come to me insane, I'm going to clean the body and put emphasis on the brain. That is what we do. An intracellular chelation. That is the African approach to pathology. Opposed to the European, which is the allopathic, is multiple disease. So you see, the FDA now jumped in because the FDA saw we were getting the advantage. We are not going to allow this man to practice or to sell his compounds because we don't know what's in them. The judge said, well, let me see. So he goes through my record. He said, well, this man doesn't show signs of recalls. On the other hand, your physician, there's always a recall. So what I think we need to do here is this. You're gonna have to raise your level of understanding of herbs to his, not he drop down to yours. Dr. Sadie, you could use whatever herb you find fit in your repertoire. But the part of this case that really hit home was when the FDA said that I couldn't sell the product. I said, the FDA is right. I should sell my product, providing they know the food that is consistent with our gene structure. The judge said, what do you mean by that? I said, you see, Your Honor, in creation, you will not find a gorilla in Alaska, nor a polar bear in Africa. And you will not see a gorilla eating the food of a polar bear because he doesn't eat blood. No, the polar bear eats flowers and plants. So when you remove the black man from Africa, did you bring his food with him? No. They said no. Now you're talking. You see, now we are getting home. We are seeing that it is necessary for you and I. This is why I'm so happy that I became a member of the Nuwaubians. Why? Because when I talked to Melvina and Denise, I could see the fire, I could see the sincerity, I could see love, I could see togetherness. And I have never been a member of anything that displayed that to me. And I said that I would like to be a member to bring to you an added component. And you, I became a family to you. So naturally, from now onwards, I have to be more careful in conducting myself. Because I see how you conduct yourself. And I admire all of you that I've met. I heard of you for years. But I was traveling to Africa, South America. I didn't have time to sit down to do anything. I had to run around and take care of a whole lot of business. I find myself having to see presidents from all over Africa. But I know I was abreast of what you were doing. But the day came that the opportunity presented itself in which I am a member now and I'm going to comply with all of the requirements. I told Melvina, if we could take this worldwide, we would be the only organization or family or nation in the world that provide the healing for the world. And we don't have to be angry with people, you know, hey, we got the goodies here. You have to behave yourself now because they cannot go around saying that there's no cure for AIDS. Now we're going to come to that part. AIDS. We said there's only one disease. Right? Well, with AIDS, where is the mucus? It's in the skin, it's in the blood, and the lymphatic system that makes up the immunological system. That's where you find the mucus. They are looking for virus. I was in the Tony Brown Journal. You know the Tony Brown Journal, right? Well, I was on there when the year after I won the case, and there was a young white man who was on the panel. He said, well, I can't make a statement such as curing AIDS or any disease. I said, you're right, because you haven't, but I can. And he did not like that. What I'm seeing, that you and I now have the cure of the world in our hands, whether they like it or not. We now have to know how to project this. How to work with it, but we have it. This is what I want for us, the right to practice the medicine of our fathers, which is what? Nutrition, not medicine. Electric cell food. We want that right. We also want the right, and no one has ever taken the privilege to act on it. You know when I said that when they removed the black man from Africa, they didn't bring his food with him? Well, why can't we go to the schools now and demand that they put in the schools the food or the nutrition consistent with our children gene makeup? We have that right. We have that right. But Sonny Carson didn't do it. And I was at the Rayburn building in Capitol Hill on the year 2004. Mr. Michael Jackson going to take me to Capitol Hill because he said that he had a gift for Africa. He said, Steve, you want to go? I'll go. Don't see why I shouldn't. When I got to Washington, boy, big crowd. I mean, Michael is famous. My son told me, and I made a mistake. I should learn to dance and move my fanny, and I make billions. You cure AIDS, they give you pennies. So I went with him, and there when I got into this building, there are all these people, they were ambassadors. There were 17 African ambassadors. Sheila Jackson Lee, when she came up to my wife, she said, chocolate people with silver hair. I said, wow, look at the description she gave. Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas, right? The Black Caucus. Then there is Mr. John Conyers from Michigan. And the 17 African ambassadors. And there was Jesse Jackson Jr. from the House of Appropriation. And there was Leonard Mohammed from the Nation of Islam. And I'm talking to them. And I gave them the proof. And do you know that the same response that I got in Africa from the president, I got it from these brothers that day. You didn't hear that it was cure for AIDS, right? Well, how come Leonard Mohammed didn't tell Minister Farrakhan? How come Mr. Jesse Jackson Jr., who is a member of the House of Appropriation, didn't tell them that it was cure for AIDS? Because they claim that they are looking for the cure. But we have the cure. What's the problem? So what the problem is this, like the German told me in Germany, in Munich, now that you have proven that you cure AIDS, who do you expect to support you? The world, I said. He said, that's where you're wrong. German doesn't cure AIDS. Chinese doesn't cure AIDS. Neither does Americans, but you, the black race, cure AIDS. So who should help you? I said, the black race. I said, thank you. But I know and I feel that you will be the only person to help this thing. Not me, but the entity of our forefathers. You can't support to help me. I'm part of you. I'm you. We are projecting an entity that is ours. That's going to support our life, makes us feel better and live better with peace. They didn't tell anyone. What's up with that? Now, should we force their hand? No. We're going to go about doing what we're doing all the time, right? We don't have to force anybody's hand. That's okay. But now they are faced to answer to the public of the world because there is a website. There's Cure for AIDS. What do we do now? We just sit back and see Africa die. One ambassador came to me from Mali. He said, we need you. But that was the last I heard of it.